Oh shit. Here we go again.
Like, that was the tide turner. That's my biggest takeaway. Is like, how can you? And I'm like riding the fence on this whole shit's rigged, and no, like, oh, Mr. Crazy Conspiracy Guy, whatever. No, fuck that. This shit just looked rigged. Like, he didn't even hold him. If anything, it gave him a little push. Like, he didn't fucking hold him. It's the most timely calls. They were letting shit go all game.
That is a problem in today's modern football. Is the referee has way too much power. There's way too much. He can call holding anytime he wants. He can call pass interference anytime he wants. He can, I mean, it all, even coming down to like spotting the ball. If the referee moves the ball back that much, that could be the difference between winning and losing. All it takes is one bad spot and you're done. And so I don't know how you offset that, but I think you kind of just have to make refereeing a point of emphasis. Like we have to train our guys.
It has to be.
And it has to be fair, man. Because especially with the gambling, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like since they've opened up the gambling, there's been so much shit with the referees. There's been so many bad, just horrible officiated games. And, I mean, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot because everybody loves to gamble, but we also want a fair game,
Ladies and gentlemen, I would say welcome back, but I feel like this is the introduction to a new season, a new way of life for Cozy and Murph. This is brand new. Murph's got the cam, I got the cam on, so let's reintroduce ourselves if we will. I am JD Kozad. I'm here alongside, literally alongside, like, hey, Cody Murphy.
I think you sent the wrong cam. You should have sent me the one you got.
Well, all in all, for the people, it's been a long time coming because I've been saying I'm going to send this extra camera, and then I can't find my other one for the longest time. So it's like I got a $25 gift card on Amazon. I'm just going to scroll through some reviews, and we're going to get you a camera. And then lo and behold, I sent you a fairly priced, like it was like $30, and damn, that thing's got a good picture.
For $30, it's nice.
That's what I'm saying. I paid good money for this Logitech a couple years ago, and it's just like a little fuzzy, pixelated. But all right, backgrounds. This is the only thing that matters. Philly, we do have a Super Bowl.
I don't have any mine set up yet.
me either. I literally just threw that up as you texted me because I am ill prepared.
NFL with the Redskins logo. Let's go.
Yeah. R.I.P. to the Skins, for all who may know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to attempt this today and see how it plays out. We'll see how far we get. If you see our faces, that means I have successfully edited it to the best of my abilities. But today we're going to talk college football and that college football season finale, the national championship game. Michigan dominates, whoops. Harbaugh's reign continues, and the Wolverines leave NRG Stadium, national champions. Murph, man, kind of a sleepy game. For a minute, it was entertaining. But it was a little bit of a sleepy game.
It was a good game from 2 minutes in the first quarter to all the way until about 7-8 minutes in the fourth quarter. Like, that whole span in between then was actually a really good game. The score was 20-13 for a long time, and it just seemed like this was Michigan's. I can't remember at what point in the game, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, this is the type of game Michigan wants to play. They want to play close. They want to play. They want, like I've been saying, they want to dominate the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what they did. They ran the ball effectively. They got pressure on Penix. They were able to throw the timing off for the receivers. And it just seemed like overall Michigan just kind of imposed their will. And that's what they've been doing all year. So, we came into this game, with all of the shit about Harbaugh, and they did like they have done all year. And no matter what controversy comes their way, no matter what adversity, they stuck to the game plan, they stuck to the plan, and they pulled out the 34-13 victory. So as much as, people might hate it, I know, Ohio State, they feel a type of way about it, but I mean, you got to give props. You got to give props to Michigan. They took care of business. They play, and what I loved about Michigan is that all year they seem like they've been playing for each other.
Yeah,
it seems like that's one of the closest teams. Just from the outside looking in, it seemed like that team was so tight knit that it didn't matter what happened. They were gonna take care of business. So, shout out to Michigan. Shout out to JJ McCarthy. Made some big plays down the stretch. Washington, man, they gave it a hell of a run, man. Nothing to hang your head about if you're Washington. You come into that game a 5.5 point underdog, and they just weren't able to put up the points. Their offensive, their pass game kind of got shut down. So it's a good game, though. I thought it was a good game. A little boring in the middle, but overall, if you're,
it was a football game. It was a good football game, all in all. And as a Buckeyes fan, and as the world knows, I wasn't going into this game rooting for Michigan, but I can stand behind how the players went about it. If anything, I can say that I respect their players. They went about it the right way. These guys like Blake Corum, he could have left last year, gone to the draft, and he'd probably be making NFL money on a team, being an NFL back. But he came back, said the whole goal is to get this team back and give themselves a shot. They gave themselves a shot, and from start to finish, they basically controlled that game, and they ran the clock. They ran, pretty from start to finish. They ran that game. I think it's something too because Penix in the last game against Texas, he lit it up, and I think that Michigan defense showed why they weren't tested all year. Really, it was because that defense was top tier. I mean, when they needed to stop, they got it. When they needed pressure on a quarterback, they got it. And I don't even like sitting here giving Michigan any sort of love, but at the end of the day, you have to tip your hat to greatness. And the last 4-team playoff we're ever going to see, who's got as Harbaugh said, who's got it better than them right now? Nobody. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a little corny for my taste, but hey, if it works for Harbaugh,
it
so
works.
be it.
Well, he is a cornball, that's
is.
Him. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, where they got that defensive scheme from, right?
Mm-mm.
He got it from his brother.
They
run Baltimore's defense. Basically, pretty much every defensive concept they have is imported from Baltimore Ravens. So they have the players to pull that type of game plan off, and they execute it.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna sit here and glaze Michigan. I think they were a hell of a ball club, and they deserved it. They fought through everything, but at the end of the day, I'm not a Michigan fan, so I'm not going to sit here and suck Harbaugh off or anything. He probably is top 3 coach in the nation, and the question now is, what's the future for Harbaugh? Does he stay at Michigan or does he take one of these open NFL jobs? Yeah, that's really been the conversation.
What's the future of Harbaugh? What's the future for Michigan, and what's the future for Washington? What's the future for these guys that are going into the NFL? You look at Harbaugh, we'll start there. I would say if his name is cleared, you stay at Michigan. Just stay there. There's no reason to go back to the NFL. This one, it's the way players are getting paid. You can basically run an NFL franchise from a college coaching position and still have the benefit of saving your job even in a bad year. I think Michigan, now that he's done this, he'll probably get a statue and going, you know what I'm saying? Like Michigan's going to crown him. They'll put JJ McCarthy on a statue. But I think if the allegations are true with the cheating thing, then this changes everything. And I'm not going to say that they are true because obviously I don't know. And I still think majority of the NFL or the majority of college football has been cheating technically. But if it comes to the point where they decide we're going to strip this championship away, are we at a point now in college football where it won't matter because it's already been done and won? People are always going to remember that. And I don't know. I guess I'm asking myself in the same breath because I really don't know, but what do you think?
Well, I think in the end, I don't really think it matters because everybody knows who won the game. It's just like the situation with Louisville basketball back in 2013. They got their title retroactively stripped, but everybody knows that Louisville won that. They won that year. Even if there's no banner, even if it's not in the record books, I mean, everybody is going to remember that 2013 Louisville basketball won the championship.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I mean, there's probably is going to be some sanctions. And I was listening to some podcasts at work today, and two things. I think if Harbaugh decides to leave, I think that lessens the blow for the Michigan football program. I think they already have a coach in waiting, and what's his name, Sharon, the guy who was the interim coach during the suspension. I can't think of his last name. But so they already have a coach in waiting. It's going to lessen the blow if Harbaugh leaves. Plus, another big point is the quality of life for a major college football coach, and the quality of life for a NFL coach is night and day. In the NFL, it's a business. You work, you go home, you have a life. In NCAA, you're recruiting. You're on the road. 90% of the off season. You're in kids' living rooms. You're in the, trying to put together NIL deals. You are trying to appease all these boosters. So there's so much more you have to worry about when it comes to college football as far as a head coach standpoint. And so, he's reached the pinnacle. There's nothing else for Harbaugh to achieve in college football. So, I mean, I think that's where the conundrum is. Do you go back to the NFL? Because you know he wants to get that Super Bowl. Losing to your brother in the Super Bowl, I mean, come on, you're going to want to get back.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of good NFL opportunities. I mean, you've got Chicago, you've got Atlanta, you got LA Chargers. Tennessee Titans now has a coaching vacancy. New England is looking at firing their coach. Washington Commanders. So there's opportunity there. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Harbaugh was to leave just because of not only just winning the national championship and riding off into the sun on top, but also because of all the controversy that has been going on throughout the season. I think that it'll be mutually beneficial for both parties if Harbaugh moves on and goes to the NFL. So that's kind of my take on it. I think he's going to leave.
I think that in your points where he's obviously in college you are recruiting, you're on the road, you're out a lot, you don't have any life outside of it. If anybody is going to love that life, it is Harbaugh. But I also in the same breath say, his brother doesn't have a national title in college. So the only way to get him 100% is to go back to the NFL and give it a run.
Right.
I think if he's going to go back, it probably is the Chargers. Because I know he still has a home out in California. I could see it being a real thing where he goes back to the Chargers. He loves Herbert, so it's been one of the things where he was always big on Justin Herbert. And I mean they need a guy.
Well, I think not to get off topic, but I think LA Chargers is probably the most appealing vacancy right now in the NFL, just solely because of Justin Herbert and what he's able to do, if you put a good roster around him. So, I mean, there's opportunity there for Harbaugh if he wants to go back. The good thing, if you're Harbaugh, I mean, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want,
Literally.
Nobody's going to tell you anything, it's solely up to you. So I think that's, Good for him. I admire Harbaugh. I think he's
Yeah.
a hell of a coach, and he seems like
Yeah.
a really good guy too. At the end of the day,
Truthfully, and
so
I'm not gonna dog him. He seems like a great guy.
yeah,
There's a lot
and
that some coaches could take away from him. This has been think of everything that he's endured in his time there. I mean, he's got his shit kicked in by Ohio State. He's been on the ringer. He's gone out and tested the waters trying to get back in the NFL. Like there's been times where Michigan fans were calling for his job and his seat, and he stuck it out. He went out, recruited the guys. Like truly, these are his guys. He didn't inherit any of these guys. These are his guys. He recruited. He put together a good program, and he reached the pinnacle. I mean, it was a slow build. Michigan trusted in their guy, which I'll give them hats off to. It's nice when you see a program or a team finally give reign to somebody who has an idea and fully believes and is investing in them, like a stock. And you slowly see Harbaugh piecing it together. One year they barely lose to Ohio State. The next year they get there. Now that they're back on top, it doesn't look like they're letting up. I do have concerns about the future of Michigan. I think they're going to lose a lot in this draft. It'll kind of be similar to
Georgia,
the Ohio States, the Alabamas. It's hard to retool and rekindle those pieces, especially when these guys are mostly in their second and third years of operating the systems.
Also, you're going to see a lot more. The Big Ten's adding Washington, UCLA, USC. So I mean,
Michigan plays a gauntlet next year too.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be an absolute ringer for. Plus, you got a target on your back. All those teams that you beat this year are gonna have a revenge game type of attitude towards that game. But what I was going to say about Washington, well, really, it's about Michael Penix. Man, I feel so bad. I mean, I feel so bad for the kid. Because, and I call him a kid, even though he's like 24, 25, but he played his guts out, man. He did everything he could possibly do to will his team to victory and just came up short, was only able to put up 13 points, had two really big interceptions that hurt bad. And, I mean, it just wasn't his night. He only threw for 250 yards. And 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So not a great night, but man, he's a warrior. He stuck in there. Yeah. He got hit on multiple plays. Yeah, he could barely make it off the field after the game. And another one is the running back, number 7 for Washington.
Johnson.
Can't remember his name. Johnson. Absolute dog.
That dude's a dog, bro.
Absolute dog. He's out there throwing blocks. Fucking ankle, he's limping around everywhere, running the ball, going out for passes, throwing blocks in the pass pro. So, I mean, absolutely nothing to hang your head about if you're Washington. I think the future's bright there. They kind of had a couple down years, and now they're back at the top of the food chain as far as college football goes. It was kind of sad to see them, after that last interception. And Michigan went up 27-13. I was like, man. I was like, it's over.
Well, here's the question mark that I had was, and we texted back and forth about it, was that it was 17-10 and where Washington threw it down the field. Penix threw it down the field, and he gets that big catch, and then it ironically comes back, call.
Yeah,
and I feel like that was the tide turner. That's my biggest takeaway. Is like, how can you? And I'm like riding the fence on this whole shit's rigged, and like, oh, Mr. Crazy Conspiracy Guy, whatever. No, fuck that. This shit just looked rigged. Like he didn't even hold him. If anything, it gave him a little push. Like he didn't fucking hold him. It's the most timely calls. They were letting shit go all game.
That is a problem in today's modern football is the referee has way too much power. There's way too much. He can call holding anytime he wants. He can call pass interference anytime he wants. He can, I mean, it all, even coming down to like spotting the ball. If the referee moves the ball back that much, that could be the difference between winning and losing. All it takes is one bad spot and you're done. And so I don't know how you offset that, but I think you kind of just have to make refereeing a point of emphasis. Like we have to train our guys
It
up,
has to be.
and it has to be fair, man. Because especially with the gambling, I mean, I don't know how you feel about this, but it seems like since they've opened up the gambling, there's been so much shit with the referees. There's been so many bad, just horrible officiated games, and I mean, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot because everybody loves to gamble, but we also want a fair game, And so there were several calls in the first half that Michigan could have been called for holding, could have been, offensive interference, pass interference, so there were several calls that were not called in the first half for Michigan that I thought really impacted that first half. And then, like you said, Washington finally breaks through and gets a huge play, and there's a flag in the backfield. Every single time there's a pass down the field, complete, you're waiting for, there's a flag in the backfield.
Yeah.
You automatically know what it is. It's either it's 99% of the time it's holding, or it might be roughing the passer.
Yeah. Some bullshit call. I feel like they're like, I don't know how to. It's like you're the cook and they're just sitting there fucking your girl. Pretty much, you're just watching them. You're just watching them go to town. You're just over there like, so do I join in, or am I just here to watch? Am I at the will of your mercy? It's some bullshit. I don't agree with how much power they have, but I also don't see it changing in any sense, because the only argument that comes up is if we like make it more firm on the policy, say you loosen up refereeing and they don't call as many calls, then people are going to argue, well, what about safety of the players in the game, blah blah blah. I think
it's a very, very fine line you have to walk, because at the end of the day, being a referee, I mean, I just came back from fucking
got his ref shirt on
in basketball, so like, trust me, I know, like it's a difficult position to be in as a ref, because no matter what you call, you're going to piss somebody off. I mean, you're not going to make everybody happy, but at the same time, I think you have to hold these refs accountable.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it last week. The players have to go answer the media. The coaches have to go answer the media. The owners have to go. The GM has to go and talk to the media. Why are these refs not, being questioned, or at least, like, let me get your thought process, because then I can maybe, find a way to understand your justification on why you threw that flag there, or why you didn't throw that flag there.
Yeah.
And I think they need to change the replay rules where you can challenge anything. Any call, anytime, anywhere. You get 2 challenges. You win the first one, you get an extra one, and that's it. I mean, simplify it. There shouldn't be plays that you can't challenge. You should be able to challenge anything, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, it's about getting the right call. It's about getting the call right. It's not about, protecting the referee or whatever. It's about getting the call right. So, that's kind of my viewpoint on it. Something's going to have to change. But, I mean, it was a fun year. A lot of ups and downs.
Been a run.
A lot of good storylines. We knew all
along it was going to be Michigan from the start.
Yeah. I mean, even from the very get-go, Harbaugh serving the suspension at the beginning of the year. And it's like they went undefeated through that stretch, and it was like, all right, it seems like this is Michigan year. And then he gets suspended 3 more games, and they win all those games, and you're like, all right, Michigan team of destiny confirmed. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Lord, let me run this by you real quick. The 2024 Michigan football schedule is, they open up with Fresno State Bulldogs. They got a nice little warm up there. But September 7th, they play the number 2 Texas Longhorns. Then they've got Arkansas State. But after that, they got the USC Trojans. Then Minnesota. Then they got the Washington Huskies, a rematch there. We got Illinois, Michigan State, Oregon, Indiana, Northwestern, and Ohio State to close it out.
So yeah, you've got
welcome to the
a
Big
lot
Ten,
of
ladies and gentlemen.
yeah. We're about to see a lot of. Well, I mean, the Big Ten, at least in the what is it, the West or the East division? It's the East
The West,
division that's like
the
stacked.
East is the strong division. Yes,
Yeah,
Penn
the
State,
East is
Ohio
just
State.
stacked.
Yeah,
And then so for years, in the SEC, it's a gauntlet every year, and now adding Texas and Oklahoma, it's even more of a fucking grind. It kind of sucks as for Kentucky being a mid-tier SEC team. Like now, our chances of making granted that they are bringing a 12-team format to the college playoff, but still, you know, I would, I'm a Kentucky fan through and through, but I'll be the first one to sit here and say that we can't compete with Texas. We can't compete with Oklahoma when it comes to recruiting, when it comes to atmosphere, when it comes to tradition. We can't compete with those programs. So it's gonna be even tougher for us now as far as football goes. But we are a basketball school, so we have that in our favor.
Basketball school, which that's something I think people can look forward to. We'll be almost out of football season, so we're gonna have to start talking some college basketball, start talking different things.
Yep.
We're gonna have to get some college basketball experts on here and have them rant about
who's the odds-on favorite to win it all next year? I haven't looked.
I would reckon to say they'd probably put Michigan at 1. Then they'd probably put Bama.
I'd say they put Georgia, Texas, Bama,
Ohio State. 5. No, I don't even think Ohio State will be a top 10 team next year, so I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, I would say they probably have Michigan odds favorite right now. Georgia, I'd probably say, is right there, number 1, number 2. Which, let me ask you this: now that we've seen all 4 teams play, I think Georgia could have beat any of these teams in that 14 playoff.
Yeah, I mean, I was a strong advocate for Georgia to be in. I don't think Alabama deserves to go in. I know they beat Georgia in the SEC championship. I get it, but you're not supposed to take in the season before, but they won how many games in a row?
29, 28.
It was like 29, 30, something like that.
Yeah.
And they lose one game and you're out of out of contention for the championship. It doesn't seem right to me.
Yeah.
I mean, that team was loaded, but I understand the logic of what the committee did because
I get it.
Texas beat Alabama. You have to put, if you're going to put Alabama in, you have to put Texas in.
Yep.
Alabama beat Georgia in the most important game of the season, so gotta kind of have to put them in. So I get it, but I think Georgia probably would have put up a better fight against Michigan.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion. But
I think last thing I want to talk college football before moving on out of this, we'll probably just do the college football today, as we said. But Penix, obviously, gonna probably be late first round, mid first round. I bet he sneaks up on the draft board for somebody. You got Odunze, he'll be a top 15 pick probably. Blake Corum will probably be mid first, late first, early second, I'd say. I don't even know.
I'd say Michigan probably has some linemen that will go.
Yeah,
because their offensive line was fucking massive, dude. Yeah. And just dominating. They were huge 3 to 5 yards down the field on every run play.
Yeah.
Shout out to Edwards from Michigan. Had an absolute donkey of a game.
That's one of the things I wanted to mention too. He was a guy that stepped up last year when Corum got down. He ran all over Ohio State, and people were like, who's this Edwards guy? He hasn't seen really an appearance and then he cribs one. Right off rip, and then cribs
two.
Yeah, cribs two. Yeah, talk about showing up when your team needs it most. I think he gets a big hats off. Corum, 2 touchdowns. JJ McCarthy, obviously he's not going to be an NFL guy, I don't think, but he was the right fit for this. He's literally the perfect game manager. The guy controls the ball, gets what he
Um,
needs, makes the right reads, and he's a leader.
exactly.
He's got that team surrounded around him. McCarthy was the right guy. I see why Harbaugh, the moment he could, pushed off McNamara and gave it to McCarthy, because he
Yeah.
knew McCarthy was going to be the guy that takes them to that next level. And McCarthy's the first guy that gets to say, I've got two of them on Ohio
Right.
State,
Right.
and I got a Natty. So hats off. He's like,
I
Tom
think
Brady, what you got?
I think he's one of the winningest all-time quarterbacks for NCAA.
Yeah.
He's like 20. What is he, like 27-2 or something like that as a starter?
I think he's lost 2 games.
But what I was going to say is they were backed up. I think it was late third quarter, maybe early fourth quarter. Washington had a good punt, had them backed up within the 10-yard line. It was 3rd and 10. McCarthy drops back to pass rush, breaks the offensive line. He runs up the middle for like 20-something yards, and that kind of broke the game.
Literally.
If you really think about it, that was kind of the moment where Michigan's got some breathing room. They were able to get the ball out of their own end zone, and able to. I can't remember what the result of that drive was, but that was just one of the plays that stands out in my mind as like, all right, that was the game breaker right there. Because if Washington is able to force an incompletion or get a sack right there, they're on a short field. They could come down the field and score, quickly.
Yeah.
And be right back into the game. So I think that was, like you said, it was just a great job by McCarthy of managing this game, not making the big mistake. I think I think that is really what he is great at, is not making the big interception or taking a bad sack or getting strip sacked. It's like he was just on point the whole game.
Yeah. Which that's what it takes to win a national championship at the highest of all levels. I looked up JJ McCarthy's win percentage. He is 28-1 as a starter.
28-1. Damn.
28-1. His one loss to TCU last year.
Damn, that's impressive. I mean, like you said, he's not like a gangbuster. He's not going to blow you away, but he is going to protect the ball, and he is going to put your team in winning position. So
yeah. 10 of 18, 140 yards. Blake Corum, 21 carries, 134 yards. Penix, like you said, he tried to throw. They had him pass attempts 51 times. They couldn't get no run game going. I will say Washington's defense, they gave a very valiant effort, especially that second, third quarter. But I feel like once that one play where, like I said, Penix threw the ball downfield, it was like the backbreaker for the entire game.
Yeah.
After that, it was the floodgates opened up. It's like, if this is what's going to be the outcome, then that's going to be the outcome. But I respect Washington. I think Penix, his draft stock shot super high, and I still think he's going to be a quarterback that will succeed at the NFL. But I think he's going to fall, which might ultimately be better for him, because if he falls, into the second round or late first round, he's going to end up on a team where he sits for a year or two.
Yeah.
I think that'll end up ultimately being
I think that would be better for him.
Yeah.
Is set behind a veteran, and learn. My thing with Penix, one of the great seasons of all time, just as far as yards and just the numbers that he put up. But I just, watching him in that national championship, he looked great against Texas. Absolute fucking, we were talking about how he deserves the Heisman after that Texas game. But like I said, Michigan's defense, that's a pro-style defense. That's what you're going to see in the NFL. And Penix really struggled, I thought. And he's the type that if you allow him to set back and on schedule make throws, he's going to pick you apart all day. But if you can get him out of the pocket, if you can get him moving off his spot, he's not as effective. You saw it last night. How many throws did he overthrow or underthrow or throw out of bounds because he didn't have that perfect pocket to just set and deliver. So I think that's something he'll have to work on in the pros. I still think he has a chance to be a solid pro. I don't think I would still take I would still take Daniels over him any day of the week. But he seems like he's a good guy. Has good, he has that quarterback mentality. He is a leader. You can tell, just a natural leader. Guys want to rally around him. So it was fun season, fun. I mean, so many storylines. We could sit here and talk for another hour or so about college football.
But I feel like we got the gist of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michigan, your national champion. I threw the mustard color sweatshirt on to represent. I'll give Michigan their one day. They can have it this year. I don't want to hear anything about it after today.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. That's the only thing I'm worried about is obnoxious Michigan fans. Because I want to be happy for you, but at the same time, like, stop acting like you're just like Alabama now. Stop acting like you're Georgia. Like, you haven't been relevant since what, 97? So come on, have a little bit of humility. A little bit of humility goes a long way. So we're giving you your props, but at the same time, like, simmer down. All right, it's 1 year. People were talking about. Portnoy was talking about, I'm already ready to declare this Michigan team as the best team of all time. Like, what are you talking about? Did you not watch college football in 2019? Did you not see Joe Burrow?
That LSU team runs
destroy everybody. Like, come on,
man. That's what I was about to say. That LSU team, man, they body motherfuckers, bro. And that year at Bama with Devontae Smith too, that was a good fucking team.
Yeah. I think anytime that you go undefeated and win the championship, though, like, you're immortalized. Like, we're always going to remember the undefeated champ.
Yeah,
Undisputed.
You see Dave Portnoy, too, with the Infinity Gauntlet. He's got all the Boston team stones that have the one, and then the Michigan. He's like, I've collected all the, like, Celtics, Red Sox, Bruins, Pats, and Michigan. He's like, I've completed my Infinity Gauntlet.
Congratulations. You won the lottery.
The biggest bandwagon ever.
You won the regional lottery. You get of sports fans. You were born in the Northeast. Wow. Great accomplishment.
Congratulations. Fuck them.
No, I mean,
I've tried to be as polite as I can
like
about
Portnoy, but he gets on my fucking nerves sometimes, man.
He does, dude. He presses it. But when you've got $1 kajillion and an outlet that lets you say whatever the fuck, or you can say whatever the fuck you want because you own it. I mean, it just, you are the guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. He had like $1 million. I think he said he put $1 million on. Michigan. So
I'm sure he's a happy guy. He probably made some good fucking money. All right, Michigan, you can have your day. I know when Ohio State wins and Kentucky wins and all that shit, we're all insufferable. That's what fan bases do. So enjoy it, because next year you have a gauntlet. Washington, hats off to you. Hell of a season. Great run. Everybody in the playoffs, Michigan or Alabama, Texas, hats off to you. Texas is back. Bama, one of the best turnarounds in Saban's tenure. Yeah, it's going to be fun next year. 12 teams, bro. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a hell of a ride. We're going to be sitting here talking about why this team deserves to get in over this team, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be the same conversation we had this year, but there's going to be like 8 teams, five to 8 teams that we're talking about that maybe should have got in. That didn't. So it'll be fun.
Should this 4-loss team be in over this 3-loss team? Yada yada yada, or no?
And we get more football this way too. It elongates the season. So I don't know if that's good for the health of the players, but it's good for me because I like watching. Yeah. So
I like watching. It gives me something to do every weekend. I have a football game to watch. It gives me a reason to put my phone down and just pay attention to a screen and be a dumb football fan. All right, turn my brain off. You got anything else?
Yeah. Last thing I wanted to talk about: Kentucky basketball. Really good. They did. Really good. Played Florida on Saturday. We were down 8. We were down 8 at halftime. Yeah. Ended up coming back and winning that game. Let's see, what was the final score? We'll try to find it.
I think it was 87-83. 87-85.
Yeah, it was something like that. But we had a lot of good key players step up. I feel like Onyaso, the big sophomore, He played a hell of a first half. Really kept us in the game in the first half because Bradshaw was an absolute no-show in that first half, but he did have his redemption in the second half. I think he had 9 points, had a big three that kind of closed the game out, kind of put a dagger in. Reed Shepherd, he could have played a little bit better. 90% free throw. You don't expect him to miss the front end of a 1-1. But down the stretch, he was able to make his free throws to lock the game up. But I don't know if you watched the game. We were down 4. They had a 3-point shot, and he fouled with like 0.2 seconds to go. And it's like, why are you even near him shooting the ball? There's no way they can win unless they get a 4-point play, and you're just giving him. So kind of questionable decision making. I'm sure he got an earful from his mom and his dad, both of them being Kentucky alumni. But overall, man, it was last year Kentucky loses that game by 15 points or more. Yeah. And it's good to see that we have some dogs on this team that want to go out there and get it. Trey Mitchell, Antonio Reeves, they're the heart and soul of this team. I feel like they're the far and away the leaders. We got Dillingham, DJ Wagner's a dog. We got Edwards. Once we get Thierro back, I mean, we'll be rolling. They won tonight. They beat Missouri. So
yeah, that's a big win too. You guys won 87-85, and like you said, you're down 45-37 at half. It's nice to see because it's been the narrative in the couple of years past. The Kentucky Wildcats do not finish. They jump out to these first half leads, and they end up blowing the wheels come falling off. But you guys were behind, put up 50 points in that second half. I mean, that's big against a Gators team that's fighting. I mean, they had that one dude. They had 2 guys, Clayton and Poulin, went for 23 apiece.
Yeah, they hit a bunch of threes in the first half.
A bunch of threes, yeah. They had 9 of them overall, but I want to say, they didn't shoot very good on the day. They
missed a lot of free throws too.
Yeah,
Florida did.
Free throws.
That's a good Florida team, though, man.
Yeah,
props
it's a big
to Florida.
One for you guys.
They'll be a top 10 seed, I think. Coming the end of the year, Florida will be. Kentucky, I hope they'll be a number 1 overall seed come March.
I think you guys will be definitely in position to do so.
It's great to finally be able to be excited about Kentucky basketball again. I feel like the last 2 years it was just a drag, and now this year we've got the perfect mixture of experience, talent, leadership. Seems like Calipari has done a lot better job coaching this year. And it just seems like we've got all this momentum going for us. So, big win Saturday. We had a big win tonight, beat Missouri. I can't remember what the next game is, but ought to be a fun year. For conference play. We got Gonzaga coming up in a couple weeks. Let's see.
That'll be a big one for you guys.
We got Gonzaga coming up in February 10th. So, that's a big we got Tennessee on the schedule. Tennessee twice, so ought be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Go Cats. Cats by 90. Cats. I just looked up right before we get off here. I looked up the way too early 2024 season poll from ESPN. Number 1 is the Georgia Bulldogs for next season. Then it is the Texas Longhorns, Oregon Ducks, Alabama Crimson Tide, and 5 is Ohio State. Michigan falls to 6. Ole Miss, Missouri, Arizona Wildcats, and Notre Dame. Washington falls out at 11. I don't know about all that, but we'll see. Come next season, we'll get 12 of them in. I'll take that top 12. We'll run it. Ohio State against Notre Dame is what the bracket would be if it finished like that. It'd be a fun one. All right, let's wrap her up. I'll get this cranked out. This first video. I think we weren't too ugly. We had some reactions. We'll figure it out one day at a time. Me and you will sit down tomorrow. We'll do the NFL stuff. AJ, you got anything to say? He's sleep as fuck over on the couch. All right, buddy. Get some rest. I'll holler at you tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode. A new episode of Real Conversations with Cozy and Murph. If you enjoyed this episode, please, I'm begging you, please go to the Spotify. Go to the Apple Podcast. Go to wherever the fuck you listen to us. Hit the share button. Say, hey, look here, Mom. Look at this episode. Nice, funny. These guys funny, ugly. Look at them. Ha, ha, ha. Share it with your friends. Do it. We appreciate you. We love you. Love you long time. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.